Bill Henshaw here, Constitutional Coup Headquarters, and with current events out of Oklahoma in particular. And like a lot of people, I'm very pleased that the governor of Oklahoma granted clemency to Julius Jones. But he did so only on a limited basis. And that's where this case could lead all of us and a lot of like situated people out there who feel free to contact me. Because the big deal here, from my perspective, based on decades of intense, passionate, and independent research of the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States, tells me in no uncertain terms, like a federal judge said back at the turn of the 20th century, when the Constitution was still taken seriously, a direct quote. It is unfortunate that a murderer should go unwhipped of justice, but more unfortunate that a court without jurisdiction should exercise it. Cases Tully v. United States, 140 Federal Reporter 899, page 905. And that's exactly what happened here, and is an all too frequent occurrence these days in any trial courts. And that's the main issue I'm taking on here to try to get back our federated Republican form of government of defined and limited powers and get rid of this damn democracy we've had for the last 160 years, aka three wolves, two sheep voting on what's for dinner. This may be a great opportunity here, and I'm willing to fully embrace it, especially to those that have been following it closely. The celebrity types involved, Manny Patinkin, to name one, Stephen Curry, to name another, and Kim Kardashian West. If you're serious about this, and it does seem to cut across racial lines, which it doesn't, because I tell you straight up here, I go out there and make overtly quote unquote white supremacist arguments, but those are the ones that win. When you learn why, and you will with requests for my modestly priced materials, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com about that subject. It's stunning. I mean, the things they didn't teach me 50 odd years ago in high school, if I had known, especially outside of Washington, D.C., my life would have been different, and maybe a lot of things would have been different by now. But as the saying goes, better late than never. When I got out to California in 1981, 40 years, I can't believe I'm saying that. And I got into my first trouble with the quote unquote law. I got started on my journey that put me where I am today. And at this point, you just look at it and you say, well, what can we do here? And especially if you've seen recent videos with my friend Adam, who's now had the best petition I have ever seen sent to the U.S. Supreme Court, summarily denied by the clerk of court. The justices never saw it. You say to yourself, how the hell can this happen? Especially when the Supreme Court themselves, by John Marshall, that infallible icon of Harvard and Yale, who was never wrong, was he? Said, and this is another quote, the Constitution gave every person the right to present his case to the court of the nation, no matter how small the claim, nor how little interest the community in its outcome. The framers of our Constitution thought it important in the interest of justice to create a tribunal as superior as influenced as possible in which that claim might be decided. Now, nobody can hardly get documents filed in a trial court these days. What does that tell you? And how the hell did that happen? Well, I can answer both questions. Send me information on my modestly priced materials, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. It's absolutely stunning. And this case of Julius Jones, with the backing it has, with celebrity types and across the spectrum, may go a long way in advancing this because he should be set free. The court never had jurisdiction. It acted coram non judice. Not an issue raised timely by his public pretender, which they never do, even if they know the issues, and most of them don't. Most of the black robe bastards don't know it. They don't teach this stuff in law schools anymore and haven't for quite some time. And you never hear anything about any of this when you're in high school. 10th grade US history, I mean, you name it. It just doesn't work that way anymore. At one time, I've got a hand-me-down textbook from my grandmother, in fact, a couple of them, and you only went to school 6th grades in that era for a lot of people. And those look like what textbooks you would see at Harvard and Yale today, for crying out loud, on a lot of different subjects, including law and history, with quite different and more truthful slants on a lot of events that get brushed over, in today's society and system, where the New York bankers do everything they can to divide and conquer. That's what we have to cut out. We all work together on the same page, Americans, Asians, Africans, the same issues and the same courts, judicial courts. We get these bastards off our back real quick and start our way back to our government that conceitedly wasn't perfect, but it was the best one ever created. And we can go from that locus and make changes consistent with the Constitution, not in contravention of it. So those would be interested, particularly in the Julius Jones case, and those of you that may have other similar victims, particularly on death row, my services are available here, because that's such an obvious one when that happens. And whether you're guilty or not, I happen to think that Julius Jones probably didn't do it, for what that may be worth. That said, the court wouldn't have had jurisdiction in any event, and that's what needs fixing. If we get that done, the better for you, me, our families, and our posterity. That's why I've been on the journey I have been for the last 5 decades, going into my 40th year next year. I know how important it is. It's come at a great sacrifice to me, although I don't see it that way, but I don't have a family, and I'm the last of the line. They got to be pleased about that in Washington, D.C. And a lot of other things have been inconvenient. I've been 15 years all in. I can't even apply for a job, let alone get one, because I'm not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States government in Washington, D.C. And the quickie about that, by the way, Section 1 is a non-existent 14th War Amendment, and you'll learn all about that getting information from me. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. All persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are United States citizens and are the citizen of the state in which they reside. That single phrase is so loaded with just unspeakable evil. I mean, all persons should have been in capital letters, because what that really means is corporations. Are you listening, Elon Musk, Bill Gates? All it is, corporate entities born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Wait just a damn minute here. As a lawful de jure, jus sanguinis, free white state citizen, I'm not only not subject to the jurisdiction, I, along with my brethren, created it, ordained and established to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Does that sound anything remotely related to what's happening to Julius Jones? You tell me. Goes on, it says citizens of the United States. Notice that that's a small c, capital U, emphasizing United States, where it should be a capital C, small u, emphasizing sovereign independent states. Is subject to the jurisdiction and is a citizen of the state in which he resides. We don't reside in states. And in fact, the loaded dice here, once you understand what they're really talking about, check out the Internal Revenue Code, 26 U.S.C. 7408D, where it says, in effect, not a direct quote for once, but it says, in effect, if a taxpayer can't be found in a United States judicial district, whatever the hell that is, he can be found for all jurisdictional purposes in the District of Columbia. That's the only place the income tax is valid, if it is. And as you'll learn from getting my materials, send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. It's not even valid there, crying out loud. But that's what it is. We're not resident in a state. We have a domicile in a state judicial district. Corporate entities might be a resident here, but they're a resident, in my case, in the territory of California, a foreign jurisdiction, just like it is where you are. That's all they have, and that's all they're entitled to. And boy, and I can prove, when you see the proof of this, it's stunning. And I can do it almost a cappella like I'm doing in this video. That's why I got out of that South Carolina felony case. I was spent a 7-month vacation there as a political prisoner. Yet I shut them up in 30 seconds of my initial appearance there. Just stunning. That's $1 million video if I have it. And they claim not to have made this in a court of record. Oh, by the way. And just shut them up. I mean, they read the charge to me, and I'm standing there, manacled hand and foot in a red jail suit. They read the charge, practicing law without a license. I laughed. And I said, the problem with that is I don't practice it. I get it right the first time. And they continued with that, and the judge, quote unquote, and I think actually one of the good ones, but then said, well, we have to check out and be sure you're competent to represent yourself. If I could have thrown up my hands, I would have. And I laughed. Barfetta. Beretta v. California, Judge 422 U.S. 806. The problem with that is the Supreme Court ruled Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters 243, 1828. The Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. Stunned the whole courtroom into silence. I'm the one standing there in the red jail suit, manacled hand and foot. They're the ones in trouble with the law, and everybody knew it. That's the power we have. You just have to learn that you have it and learn how to exercise it. And that's where I come into play big time. As you get my materials, as I said, send me an email, humanincourt@gmail.com. And I have your back because you get some free complimentary phone consultations, a lot of TLC via email, complimentary updates on all documents you get for a year. And there's going to be changes galore here, the way things are going. And you even get a complimentary Zoom appearance at a contested hearing, which they can't have happening because I'm going to be speaking as an expert witness on the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States. It's a great feeling to have this. I'm in my 74th year now. Life is still ahead of me. That's how good it is. Feelings they never want you to experience. That's the whole point, to keep everybody down and subjugated and victimized so they don't know who they are, what rights they have. There's no respect for human life, and this is the only nation ever created in which that was true, where we had respect, right, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Human life was valued, treasured. Not in this system today. That's what we have to get back, and I want to help you do it. Now, like I said, send me an email for information, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and I'll be talking more about the Julius Jones case in an upcoming video, and other videos as well, and we can go from there. But that said, subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we cut out this divide and conquer crap and work together, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.